Hi, my name is Tash. I'm here at the New Parts Youth Centre in Leicester today. I'll be sharing my own experiences of living in and leaving care, as well as talking to some other young people about their own experiences in care.
Mine is a bit of an atypical experience, I think, as far as experiences go, but obviously all experiences are built different. I was put into care quite late, so I was 14 at the time. So when things sort of kicked off and we were removed from the home, my assumption at least was that we would eventually be returned. Like I thought it was like the police have come again, we'll get taken for a weekend and they'll bring us back. And it very quickly became apparent that in fact was not the case. Because in hindsight, I feel like there was a lot of things I didn't know. You know, I had very much come from a place at home of being very in the know. You know, I knew about things I didn't even want to know about. And the assumption when I came into care is that things would remain the same. Very quickly realised that wasn't the case. When I moved from my first placement into my second one, after a year and a half of, quite frankly, a horrible time, it wasn't me who, you know, as outspoken as I was, because I wasn't on good terms with my foster carer or her social worker, or even really my own social worker at the time, I had to have an external force reach out. So one of my favourite teachers at the time, you know, used to see me come into school. He would see me every day and he'd be like, well, this is just ridiculous now. And it was him who managed to sort of be the catalyst to that change. Because I understand the basis of it, right? You know, you take kids from really horrible situations and you want to protect them by, you know, keeping certain things from them, but it just never helps. Kids can tell when you're lying, kids can tell when something isn't quite right, and I feel like we are owed, considering our backgrounds, the transparency to be completely honest about exactly what's going on. But I think there's a level of rigidity in terms of your relationship between, like, the jump from social worker to 18 plus worker, however you would say that, in terms of social workers try to be friendly with you and they try to build a rapport, build a relationship. I started looking at university, arguing with the council about university at about age 17. So I wanted them to pay for halls while I was there and then also pay for a placement for me to come home to, because, you know, regardless of everything, still have a lot of love for my foster carers, still have family within the city of Leicester. And, you know, I deserve to return home like any kid. I wouldn't be able to live this new lease of life without going through all the things I went through. And unfortunately being separated from my siblings and my family. There's not a world where I'm at home and doing everything I'm currently doing now. I had the drive but not the opportunity. And I have to sometimes reflect and be like, this is where I am now. I can't change it, but it has made my life so much better than I ever thought it could be.
Do you think it's important to have like aspects of identity before you came into care and after you came into care and be able to sort of like mesh them together, if that makes sense?
Before you were in care, you lived your life then, and then when you go back into care, things might change at the start, but then you'll gradually get back to being who you are.
Yeah, I totally agree actually. I think I've actually become more myself being in care than before I was in care. Is there any advice you would want to give to anyone who ends up in the same situation as you, or to your younger self?
To my younger self now, I literally just say, there's going to be a couple of things ahead of you, but you always find a way to get through them anyway. So I'll just say that I don't have to worry about anything, because I don't have people like my advocate behind me, around the care system that I know will treat me good, they'll care for me and everything. So yeah, and I'll do the same for them.
Do you sometimes feel like there's too many people involved?
But no, I don't like a lot of people being involved. That's like when you go into care, like all these random people that now know your name and you're in the system. Anyone could search you up, anyone could hack into systems, find out where you are.
Yeah, it does kind of sometimes feel like your life is on display a bit. And in terms of, I find specifically with members of like people who aren't especially acquainted with me, if information is passed through one person to another to eventually get to them, it's suddenly very different from the piece of information it originally was. When things weren't going so well, you know, who did you reach out to help?
I decided to reach out to my advocate because I was struggling a lot at home, mentally, physically, and at school as well. I didn't really have any upcoming things at school. It was just I was getting into a lot of things that I shouldn't have. My mental health was just bad, so it was reflecting on my education because of things that were happening at home. So I used to get quite angry. But then at home at school when I was in a meeting, I learned about advocacy by a leaflet. They showed me what all these things that an advocate can do. They could be like a voice for a young person when you can't attend a meeting.
Yeah, and I think we're in a really unique situation where hopefully something good can come out of something really bad. That's where I'm at the moment.
You always get something good out of being in care. You might feel sad one minute, the next minute you'll feel happy, but it'll all turn out in the end.